following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
Oh, it's a rarity here on this Talking Cowboys, something that's never before been seen or heard. To all the listeners from around the world who tune in to Talking Cowboys, it's a rare Say It With Your Chest Monday here on Talking Cowboys. Glad you're with us on the DallasCowboys.com and also on the various streaming platforms as, well, we get you ready for the Cowboys and the Ravens. That finally should happen tomorrow at 7 o'clock kickoff time on Tuesday, a little Tuesday night football for Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here with you, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, and the great Rob Phillips with you. Boys, I hope you had a great weekend, but I'll tell you what, I got to watch a lot of football this weekend, and it was kind of discouraging to me, and I'll tell you why. And the reason why is the fact that I got to see teams like the Chiefs and the Packers and all these really solid teams kind of take care of business the way that you should. And it kind of made me realize that the Cowboys may not be as close as I originally thought. Even going into the season, just the fact that the Chiefs won that game against the Broncos when they let multiple touchdowns off the board and just did not play well, and they're still able to go out and beat a team like that, it just kind of discouraged me a little bit. Rob, did you feel the same way when you were watching some football yesterday and over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, look, Pat Mahomes is in his own category. Aaron Rodgers is kind of in his own category. The most discouraging thing is watching a team like the Giants just continue to win ugly, fellas. I mean, they didn't have their quarterback in the game. Colt McCoy drives that bus. Man, he drove that bus really well. Their defense is nasty, and they have to be considered, I feel like, in the driver's seat right now to win this bad division. I mean, the Cowboys aren't out of it, but if they don't take care of business tomorrow night, they're 2 games back with 4 to play, and that's not good.
Isaiah, how'd you feel
Kyle,
about that game?
I got to ask.
Kyle, you know how I feel about that game, Kyle. I don't like that question. I really don't. I feel like you're leading the witness, and I really don't like that.
He is.
Maybe a little.
Everybody out here knows that I love my Cowboys Nation, but everybody really knows that I also love my Seattle Seahawks.
Well, that's home for
other boys.
Born and raised. That's
home.
That's home.
There.
That's hometown. The same way that everybody loves their Cowboys that's from some form of Texas. That is my passion for the Seahawks, and not only am I mad because they lost and they are now tied for the division lead over there, but I'm really mad because they lost and they screwed the Cowboys too. So it's a double whammy. It's not a good weekend. I'm not happy. I'm definitely not satisfied.
It's that Joe Judge magic, man. He's waving that wand up there.
Heckma, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yes.
What were you going to ask, Heckma?
No, I was actually just I really appreciated you for admitting your team envy. You just had that kind of a day where you can look through everything, go, wow, I want one of those. Yeah, I've never been there before, but I'm glad you admitted it. But man, watching the Giants and Seahawks for me, that was the one that it was like it's like watching one of those ugly heavyweight boxing matches where these guys are just holding each other, hugging and clinching the whole fight. But, that's the kind of fight that Joe Judge wanted. He muddied the water for Seattle. And you talk about Colt McCoy driving the bus. He was driving that thing with his pinky finger yesterday because he had it. I mean, he had it on automatic. He was Cadillacing that thing yesterday. And I really appreciated just looking at what they're building in New York. It's hard to say anything good about them, but I really have to, man. Their defense showed up. They were able to manufacture pressure with just 4 down linemen and set their guys back and sit in those lanes that that Russell likes to cook in. And they just made it a hard game for the Seahawks, man. You got to credit those guys for getting a great victory.
And at the same time,
credit him nothing.
On the other side, yeah, I can see that from your perspective. But on the other side, whenever it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, could they have looked any worse against the Green Bay Packers? I mean, I don't like. I'm not even like making fun of the Eagles, just based on the fact that the Cowboys have not looked good either. But man, I mean, their troubles continue to multiply. And even Doug Peterson said that, hey, he doesn't know who's going to start next week at quarterback. It could be Jalen Hurts. It could be Carson Wentz. Well, Hurts played better than Carson Wentz did. So yeah, I think you're picking up on it too.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down there, buddy.
Do you think that's the right choice or no?
Heck yeah, it's the right choice. It's been the right choice for the last 5 weeks. Jalen Hurts is an up and coming quarterback. We know the type of talent he is. We know how dangerous he is. The thing is, they're committed to Carson Wentz. But the thing is, in this world of NFL, professional football, there's a lot of things that kind of revolves around the money aspect. As you can see, my guy Kyle giving he's not asking for a tip. No, that's the guapa.
I mean, you can tip me as well. Cheese, I'll give you my Venmo.
The cheese, the cheddar.
Yeah, it's a cheddar. And I know Rob might be a cheddar guy. So any form of cheese, Wentz has a lot of that. And they can't afford, as Heckma alluded to last week, they can't afford to him not playing. That's why I said last week that Carson Wentz will probably get traded somehow, some way, and they have to find a way to get rid of that dead money or just live with it because Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of their future.
I don't know how you trade that contract.
How do you do? Yeah, exactly. How do you do that?
But I do know for this next week, I would be shocked if Jalen Hurts doesn't start that game. He comes in, he completes 4th and 18 for a touchdown on an Eagles offense that hasn't been able to get anything going.
Yep.
And now they're going up against the Saints, which might be the best defense in the league right now. But I don't know how you don't go back to Jalen Hurts and just see if he can keep that momentum going.
Now, you mentioned
they're in a tough spot.
Go for it, Heckma.
No, the Eagles are in a tough spot, and when you talk about maneuvering that cap, there's nothing they can do about it, and they're just going to have to go back to the lab and try and remanufacture or figure out what's up with Carson Wentz at this point. I mean, it would kill them if they tried to move on from him with the dead money and how it would affect their team. So I don't know. I don't envy the position that they're in, but still at the same time, you said it. Jalen Hurts came out and he gave them the spark. I guess that they kind of have been looking for this offense, but doesn't look good at all in Philadelphia.
Hey, but heck, it's just for everybody that's listening right now. If there is ever a question, if you ever pondered, ever had the inkling to wonder whether or not money plays a part in who plays and who doesn't in this league, you might have your answer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
no doubt,
for sure.
Now, Rob,
it's not about the wins.
You kind of mentioned this a moment ago. Whenever it comes to the Saints' defense, it's one of the best in the league. I know their offense is kind of pitter-pattered down the stretch here, even though Taysom Hill does bring a bit of a jolt there. But who do you think is the front runner in the NFC? I mean, we can talk about the NFC East being terrible all we want, but that's one thing we haven't hit on this show is who do you think is the front runner? Because I feel like the NFC East is pretty wide open. The AFC is really top heavy. But where are you thinking in terms of both of those divisions and who could be your favorites right now?
Well, I wrote this last week, and I think I said it last week. The turnover differential lines up, as of last week, perfectly with the standings. The team that has not turned the ball over as much, has done a better job in that area, is leading the division. And that's the Giants with the only plus differential. They've won 4 straight, which is that's like 10 straight in any other division this season. So I think you've got to run with the Giants because of their defense. And as long as they don't turn the ball over offensively and give Jason Garrett credit, their OC, for helping Daniel Jones. He has. He's helped Daniel Jones. He kind of coached away some of those turnovers. So, I mean, to me, they're playing the most winning football of any team. I'd have to go with the Giants right now.
Wow. Heckma?
That's in the NFC, right? I mean, you're saying, Rob, you're saying in the NFC, you're taking the in the whole NFC, or are you just talking about NFC East?
Kyle, I got up at 5 with the baby. Did you say East or NFC or NFC?
I said we have talked about the NFC East, but who's your favorite in the NFC? So that's why I think all of us were kind of taken aback right there.
Nope, he's on record, Kyle. He's on record, Kyle.
Yeah, no, I made my pick.
Come and help P out. Come on back, P.
I made my pick. Back, P. No. I'm going to get some coffee in the break. I will go with Man, I'll go with the Saints. Because Brees is going to come back eventually, and that defense, Sean Payton is such a good coach, man. To find a way to build a plan around Taysom Hill's strengths, like that's, and seeing something in him and what he's been able to do, they've got the inside edge right now. I think they'll keep it.
Heckma.
No, I love that. I'm on the same boat, man. I think the Saints are. You hate it when you talk about their head coach and what Sean Payton has done. Just the bring in having Taysom Hill, and what a decision it was to go with Taysom Hill as well, knowing that he had another guy another quarterback on the roster that other people wanted to see in place of Drew Brees. So look, I think that when you look at their defense and what they're so stout up front, I mean, if they're not the front runner or the guys that you think could come out of the NFC, then you're going to have to show me, because I think that they are that. And just some of the moves that they've made, and the way that they're winning, I would say the Saints are the team in the NFC to look at.
Do I have to go against Seattle?
Yes.
Do I have to?
Yeah.
They just lost to Rob's favorite team in the NFC, so I mean, it might as well go against Seattle.
You know what? I'm gonna stick with Seattle. I'm gonna tell you why. They're inconsistent right now, but one thing I know about that organization and about that coach is they figure out a way to make stuff happen in the playoffs. The closer you get to the playoffs, it's like they get the juju. It's kind of like a doggone wrecking ball, man. Like the more momentum they build up, the stronger they are. And I think that they haven't reached their peak yet. I don't think at any point in time this year they've necessarily reached their peak. And they also have a dude by the name of Josh Gordon who will start playing games here in about 2 weeks, I believe.
Washed.
1 to 2 weeks.
Come on.
Stop.
Wow, Kyle.
Stop it.
He's washed?
Yeah.
He's washed?
Stop.
That may not be.
It's not the same Josh Gordon that you
term.
saw in Cleveland in 2014. It's not the same guy.
Okay. All right, we're gonna see. All I know is
I'm just saying, if you're gonna pull out a receiver out of that lineup, if you're gonna pull a receiver out of a lineup, pull out a Tyler Lockett or a DK Metcalf. Don't bring me a Josh. No.
But he's playing with Russ.
What I'm saying is. Now, when they line up with 3 receiver sets, you have Josh Gordon on the outside, you have DK Metcalf on the other outside, and you have Tyler Lockett that you can put in the slot. That's what I'm saying. So they create some matchup problems, and then they'll have all their running backs back. Their offensive line will be healthy. So, and then they also have Russell Wilson, who's that guy, and then also Jamal Adams on the other side of Jamal Adams is starting to play like Jamal Adams. So they're gonna figure it out, right? That's all I'm saying. They have the experience. They have the head coach that's been in the playoffs every year, who's been to the Super Bowl multiple times in the last decade. They have a defensive foundation in Carlos Dunlap. They have Bobby Wagner.
He loved that team.
I'm saying they have some guys that are hungry. They have hungry guys who are experienced, and they have experienced coaching staff. So I'm gonna go with them. The Saints always just find a way to mess something up.
Or the refs.
Yeah,
do. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two. One of the two. So now that we've kind of talked about that and the NFC specifically, on the other side, whenever you talk about the AFC, one of those names early in the season was the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, it had to be the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they were 5-1. They were scoring close to 30 points per game. Looked a lot like the team that went 14-2 in 2019. Well, this Ravens team is still beat up, still banged up. I mean, even without COVID issues, which is something that the Ravens have been absolutely dealing with over the last, let's say, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. But Ronnie Stanley out, their left tackle, that's really kind of been a huge blow. Of course, the Cowboys know what it's like to lose their tackles, but the Ravens just haven't been the same. And not to mention, Lamar Jackson has not been cleared yet, at least at the recording of this episode of Talkin Cowboys. Lamar Jackson has not been cleared yet. He could have been cleared as soon as yesterday, but he hasn't been. How much does that change the outlook of this offense, Rob, whenever you're talking about the Ravens, especially whenever they were already struggling going into that Pittsburgh matchup and you kind of compounded with all the COVID cases?
Completely changes it. Now, the ESPN's reporting that he will play and that now they thought he could have been activated as early as yesterday. That hasn't happened yet as of, 9:45 this morning. But, I think they've got a walkthrough today. So he's if he participates in that and he's cleared, then he'll play, and it dramatically changes what they do on offense. I mean, they're completely different. I don't know if any quarterback in the league can quite run an offense the way Lamar Jackson does, and certainly Trace McSorley can't. So, I mean, we'll see. I know the Cowboys have been preparing for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike McCarthy said that a few days ago. They're operating under the assumption that by Tuesday he'll be ready to go. The question is, is his third year in the league? I mean, if you don't practice at all, in Madden, you line up with the ratings on both sides, and it's like, the Baltimore should have the edge. But with so many guys out, and Lamar will not have had a full practice if he plays Tuesday night, I don't know. There may be some rust involved. So, and their offense hadn't been clicking, Isaiah, to begin with, really.
Yeah. My question is Lamar Jackson the guy that we're most worried about in this game?
Who would it be elsewhere? Otherwise,
Ingram,
Dobbins.
Is that who
I'm
you're
worried
going
about
with
Ingram.
here?
I'm worried about the running game more than anything, because at the very least, Lamar Jackson comes in, and so what? His timing's off on throwing. So what does he do?
I
run, right?
Yeah.
So he does that, and then you got Mark Ingram, and then you got these receivers that are going to be coming in blocking the mess out of our safeties or crackbacking on our linebackers. Oh, and there's. That's right. I forgot about that guy who's going to be coming in trying to blow our guys up too. If he doesn't catch the ball, you best believe he's going to be coming in blocking. So they got, regardless of how in sync Lamar is, they still have plenty of go juice. And I believe that if Lamar comes off of the COVID list, I think Calais Campbell and the rest of the crew, I think they come off too, right?
Well, Calais Campbell's already off.
Sorry.
Yeah, both of the running backs are already off as well. So J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram are both activated at the moment. I believe there's a couple other guys that have already been activated as well, but those are the big names.
This is the depth. Go ahead.
Sorry, they got 9 guys questionable. Calais Campbell, Chuck Clark starting safety. Sounded like they're hopeful Brandon Williams can come back on defense. So, some of their big time guys defensively, that's not good if they get back.
We said the whole crew's here, guys.
right.
No, what you said, they're putting the band back together.
Exactly.
No, man, it's just in the nick of time, right? And it's crazy. All of a sudden, these guys are healthy. I mean, NFL, do us a favor, don't do us no favors. These guys are back. And Lamar Jackson, to me, in his third year, maybe in his first year, I would have been worried about the rust or what have you. I just feel like at this point, he is what he is. You know what he's going to do. He's gassing up right now to be on the runway with us on Tuesday. So, when you talk about our defense and what we're going to be able to present, I mean, we talked about the zone and how we attack it and possibly have some success there, but it's going to be up to our defensive front. You said it, Isaiah. Ingram is going to be a threat for us. And when you're having to watch this three-headed monster tandem that they have in the running game, if that read option starts to fool you and you start biting down too hard on Ingram and there goes Lamar Jackson. He makes you kiss the baby for an 80-yard touchdown. So, man, look, we just got to pray today. It was first Sunday last Sunday, so I've been saying a lot of prayers about this game and just hoping that this Cowboy defense shows up and puts a lock on this running game for Baltimore.
I know a lot of Cowboys fans out there are still thinking about seeing number 88 on the other side of that offense or other side of that line of scrimmage as well. And this, of course, I'm talking about Dez Bryant. But what kind of added element, Isaiah, does Dez bring to the table? I know you just threw up the X, and for those listening didn't know maybe who you were talking about, but you threw up the X and said that guy on the other line or on the other side is going to come right at our guys. Do you think Dez is able to do that? Do you think he's still that kind of guy? Because, I mean, he's only had, 2 receptions in 3 games with Baltimore, but I know it's a little bit different when you're facing your former team.
Yeah, they're definitely going to try to get him the ball, just to feed that beast that's been lying within for some years now. But even if, like I said, even if he can't, get crazy and go crazy on with the passing game and receptions, he's going to come in and block. Yeah. If nothing else, they're going to use him to come in and block and crack back and try to manhandle our corners, manhandle our safeties, get some cracks on the linebackers. So he will be heavily involved in the game in some form or fashion, whether he'll be effective. I mean, he'll definitely be effective. If he's catching the ball or if he's blocking, I think he has a big impact on the game.
And he said the other day, it's water under the bridge with the Cowboys for cutting me 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but he's going to cut a little harder. He's going to run a little harder. He's going to, and he still can be a red zone threat for them. So I expect him to make a play or two in this game. I really do.
Man, guys, it's from the beginning of Dez Bryant trying to get back in the league, he was documenting everything on Twitter. And man, at first it did not look good for Dez. And he just kept working, and he cleaned it up. And now he's gotten his opportunity in the league. I'm really proud of him, man. As a former Cowboy, just everything that he's had to overcome, the Achilles, the knee, all of those things. I wish him nothing but the best, except for tomorrow. I just feel as though the Cowboys defensively should be. Dez isn't the threat that he used to be with his speed, right? He cannot take the top off of a defense anymore. So, playing, I'm not having respect for his athletic ability at the same time, but look, there are a lot of other guys on that team that you have to look out for. Devin Duvernay, Hollywood Brown, guys like that. They have a tight end that's a viable option all the time for Lamar Jackson. So, if Dez does get some catches and this turns into the revenge game for Dez, and that would be just so 2020 for the Cowboys.
It would sum it up pretty well, I think, if Dez were to go off and have a really big game. If you're talking about an 88 playing against the Cowboys, he's the first 88, by the way, of the major ones. I mean, the Drew Pearsons, the Michael Irvins of the world. He's the first one to play against the Cowboys. And I think that's something of note, that a guy of that stature, of that much fan base love, is going to play against the Cowboys. I kind of wish this game was in Arlington. I really do. I wish it was at AT&T Stadium, because I would have loved to see Dez return back, and that would have been a fun day overall. But it is in Baltimore. We're going to continue previewing this matchup. When we come back on the other side of the break, no Cam Irving, no Zach Martin. Who is going to be the offensive tackles for this game? We have no idea, but we're going to tell you what we think when we come back here on Talkin' Cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Dear, it's 1908. Don't you think we should get electricity?
And stop using candles to see at night.
It's just electricity lights up the room fast. It's more reliable than candles blowing out, and people seem to love it nationwide.
Well, candles are...
Dear, did you just run into the wall?
Nope. May I have a new candle, please?
Historically, switching to new technology is a no-brainer. Today, it's AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure, and nationwide. Switch to AT&T 5G. It's not complicated. 5G requires compatible plan. May not be in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Oh, welcome back to Talkin' Cowboys. Whether you're watching from home or cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you'll see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor. Love it from Isaiah Stanback. Welcome back to Talkin' Cowboys, presented by Geico here on this Say It With Your Chest Monday. I just said, so we've talked about Essilor, we talked about Geico, and we're going to have DraftKings coming up in the next segment. That's going to be really fun. A new segment segment as a part of our Say It With Your Chest days. I mean, I got to say days now.
Go.
We have a
We're coming on up, baby.
Little
Wait a minute.
That's like regular news.
People don't like us.
Time out, man.
That's the Lord, DraftKings.
How do you do that? How do you do that, Kyle? You just tell us like this in the middle of the show.
Yeah,
you didn't preview it. You didn't say that. Just like that. DraftKings is on with Talkin.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right.
Hey, man. Hey, I got my Essilors on. I see what's happening. We coming up, baby.
You can hear it, too, with your Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds as well. I mean, if we're going to go through all of it here.
I got my insurance.
Before everybody tunes out, because we're just sitting here smoozing sponsors and whatnot, let's talk about this matchup between this offensive line and the Ravens defensive line, because this is really kind of where I'm worried. This is where you lost the game against Washington. It's where you arguably lost a game against Pittsburgh. It's where you've lost a lot of games this season. Even you could say it against Philadelphia as well. Your offensive line. And we've talked about the injuries. Well, they continue to compound. And now we're down to our thinnest offensive line that we've had all season long. Does that just not scare the living daylights out of you? Because it does me. And it keeps everybody up at night, including Kellen Moore. I know it. But whenever it comes to this offensive line, guys, and Heckman, we'll start with you on this one. Where do you go? Do you start Brandon Knight at left tackle and stick with Terrence Steele at right tackle, or do you continue to try and find the best 5 guys depending on who those best 5 are?
Yeah, I mean that's the number one deal, is trying to find the best 5 that you can. And I'm going to say Brandon Knight at the left tackle for sure. Terrence Steele just. You know, he's had so many problems, but the coaching staff is stuck with this guy. And so, I know Isaiah hates to hear me say it. I mean, they've had an opportunity to evaluate all through the week, and they've had some extra time to evaluate. I just feel as though this team has to go a lot of 12 personnel. They have to attach a tight end to Terrence to get extra protection. But it's going to be interior, man. You have guys like Calais Campbell. That is, man, the Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's one of the nicest gentlemen you ever want to hear. But he is a giant. He is a monster in the middle, and he's going to give our guys some problems. So, I'm not excited about the matchup interior-wise, but they play that 3-4. And I think for Cowboy fans, just look at the way that their 3-4 operates. And that's probably what Coach Nolan wants from his 3-4 when he implemented it. So here's the thing. We have got to find a way to stay steady in our running game some kind of way. They're gonna crowd the line of scrimmage and dare us to throw the ball. And so for me, I just feel as though when adversity strikes, what is Kellen Moore going to go to on that play sheet? And so those are my number one worries, is that, hey, what do we do once we get punched in the mouth? Because it's going to happen.
Rob?
Everybody's got a plan, right, Heck? Until. So I was looking at these next-gen stats for the NFL, and Andy Dalton's 4th fewest time to throw at just under 2.5 seconds. And I wonder if some of that is the line, of course, but obviously trying to get the ball out quick too. And I think they've tried to do that as well. You mentioned the tight ends, Heck, and it seemed like Blake Bell and Dalton Schultz were like sewn together early in that game against Washington. They lined up same side of the field. Maybe one or both would leak out once the ball was snapped. But yeah, I think they're going to have to involve their tight ends. I'd be surprised if it's a different lineup, Kyle, than we saw that finished the Washington game. Just because I don't know what else you do. I don't think you move Connor Williams. He's the only guy in the whole line that has started every game at his position. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you want to change that. I just think you have to adjust with your game plan. And it comes down to – and they have some experience having to deal with this because it's been a problem all year long. I just wonder at what point does it catch up with you. The injuries and the lack of experience and the opponent. I'm with you. It's the biggest concern going into this game for sure.
Yeah, I really don't know what you do at the tackle position. I don't think it really matters in this particular game. If you don't have the best 5 that you have healthy, unhealthy or not healthy, where our guys that are out, I think we don't have a chance up front. I don't know what Kellen Moore does to get creative. Hopefully, it's not reverses, double reverses, and all this kind of stuff going sideways. My biggest fear is Big Campbell and Wolf. I'm really concerned about Wolf more so than Campbell. Campbell's a large human being. God. He's like the dude off at 300 that they just let the chains go on. but I'm really worried about Wolf because Wolf is kind of like a fire hydrant. He's just stumpy and just stout, and he's powerful, and he's just gonna push the hole. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he's gonna be lined up over Connor Williams, which Connor hasn't done that well with bull rushes. So the Connor bros have their hands full. Big Looney, you better help. I don't know. Just call somebody. Call Hexma. Somebody come help.
Call me. Call me.
Is there still a possibility of moving Connor Williams out to tackle? I mean, and probably that wouldn't happen until maybe Tyler Biotish comes back. But you don't think there's any possibility of that, Rob? You think he stays at left guard?
I just think, at some point, how many spots are you going to shuffle? I mean, that would require two more moves because, if Biotish comes back before the end of the season, I just think you stick with what you got and you try to make it work. And, it's not like he hasn't done it in the league either. I guess Zach Martin hasn't, but Zach Martin's a 6-time All-Pro and can play anywhere.
Big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference. I think if he could help you anywhere, he might be able to help you at center. I think Connor could probably play any position, but maybe center even more than tackle in a pinch. But I think he stays where he is.
Could be interesting whenever you talk about this offensive line. Go for it, Heckma.
No, I was just going to say, man, I do not want to see Connor Williams at tackle right now. Left guard, he's having enough problems right there. And, again, with what Rob said, he's the one guy that has been in that position. Let's just keep him where he is. And hopefully Looney can help him in this. But look, man, even Connor McGovern, he hadn't been just the brightest spot, but he hadn't been the dimmest either. And so we've gotten some positive looks at these guys. Let's just look at it like this. This offensive line, we are looking at these guys for maybe being our backups for next year. We should really look at it this way.
Good point.
And these guys are auditioning for swing tackles, backup guards, things like, this is what I feel like the Cowboys know, like next year, and not to get into the draft or all of that, but you got to get an offensive lineman that's going to be a stud that can start day one because of some of the injuries that you've had. And maybe you start moving guys around that you've already had on the line to different positions as well. So all things being considered, man, I just think in this matchup with Baltimore, offensive line is going to be tested in the interior. So that's going to be the matchup that we need to watch.
Can I just throw out one name? And I don't have any really inside thought on this, but Jordan Mills has been on the practice squad all year long and has not been elevated to my knowledge and hasn't had a start, but he's got 84 career starts at tackle. So I don't know where he is now in his career, but they have a guy with a ton of experience just sitting out there. But they have been committed to Terrence Steele, and I'd be surprised if they did something different. But it just surprises me that they've got a guy with as much experience, and Sanat too, and they haven't gone to those guys.
That's kind of what I was thinking was when you had Greg Sanat and you had Jordan Mills. But Isaiah, is it just whenever it comes to a guy like that where they've kept him on the sideline, is it just cut and dry, plain and simple? They're just not as good, at least in their eyes, as a guy like Terrence Steele, who still doesn't necessarily get the job done well, but that's what they see in practice.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard because the thing is, these guys face our defense every day in practice. And if, for instance, if that individual struggles with a guy like, Gregory, right? If Gregory makes him look bad every single day because just his style is not conducive to success, then guess what? I don't have confidence in that player now, right? Versus just understanding that player doesn't do well with that form of a player. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And versus if you put him like on an Alden Smith, a different technique, different style, then it's different, right? D-Law, I can probably handle that, right? But everybody that you face has a different style, and unfortunately, when coaches kind of get tunnel vision in practice, whether guys are not understanding the concepts or whether it's guys just not handling their particular personnel that well, and they forget, let's see what this guy can do against the rest of the guys out there versus just the guys that we have on our team.
Man, hey, Isaiah, you're getting your back blew out in practice and you think you're going to get out there on game day? No way. It's not going to happen.
No, I mean, you're right. No, exactly. But that's true though, right? It's very true. I mean, it's no different than a cornerback out there facing, nothing but Calvin Johnsons and Julio Joneses all day. But guess what? He can handle the smaller, shifty guys. But if all I ever see him go against is this type of receiver, and I see that he suffers with it, then I'd never build up confidence in him. So I'm never going to put him on the field. That doesn't mean that he can't play. It just means that he struggles with that type of player. So I don't know, man. It's. I mean, guys are trying to figure it out, but that this offseason didn't do us any favors. We obviously already have talked about that extensively, but at this point, you know what you have in terms of some guys, and you know what the lack thereof success that they've had. So at this point, try some other dudes out, man. Especially when you have somebody who has that much experience. Somebody's believed in them and then pass.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where the Cowboys should lean, is look toward other options, look toward other players. And I know you're trying to build something apparently with Terrence Steele, but if he's not working, which he hasn't been, they've already benched him twice. I mean, why not try maybe a Greg Sonata or a Jordan Mills or somebody out there that's been there before and done it before? Maybe not at a high level. I mean, we're not throwing Zach Martin out there. We're not throwing Lyle Collins out there at right tackle. It's still going to be a significant downgrade, but I think right now anything could potentially work better than what Terrence Steele has shown. Whether you're listening to music or talking Cowboys while you work, watching highlights, or trading fantasy draft players on DraftKings, Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds let you experience audio in a whole new way. Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds are the official earbuds of the Dallas Cowboys. When we come back, it's Say It With Your Chest Monday. We'll give our predictions for the game. We'll talk about our predictions from this past Sunday as well. It was not a good week for Isaiah Stanback, and we'll tell you why when we come back here on Talkin Cowboys.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Ah, music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Dear, it's 1908. Don't you think we should get electricity?
And stop using candles to see at night.
It's just electricity lights up the room fast. It's more reliable than candles blowing out, and people seem to love it nationwide.
Well, candles are...
Dear, did you just run into the wall?
Nope. May I have a new candle, please?
Historically, switching to new technology is a no-brainer. Today, it's AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure, and nationwide. Switch to AT&T 5G. It's not complicated. 5G requires compatible plan. May not be in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
We're back here on Talking Cowboys. It's a Say It With Your Chest Monday, and we've got ourselves a new little segment to check out, and it's DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And today, you can play for free for a share of over $1 million in total prizes with your first deposit. Download the app today and play for free for over $1 million in total prizes on DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports. And we're not even going to just do a read here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to pull up a graphic, and this graphic has 4 Dallas Cowboys and their price tags, their points per game, and their offensive position rank in terms of daily fantasy. These are guys that are value picks. Going into the game against the Baltimore Ravens, you've got Amari Cooper up there. He's had a fantastic career already with the Dallas Cowboys, and really he's kind of your high floor type of player whenever it comes to daily fantasy. Then you've got Tony Pollard, I think, is a value pick in this. Isaiah, earlier this week you said Tony Pollard was a guy that you were looking to have a really big game against the Ravens, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Well, he's only at $2,600, so he's a cheap pick for your daily fantasy lineup. You don't have to pick all four of these guys. We're just trying to give you some options here for DraftKings, and I mean, we're technically not allowed to play the fantasy games and whatnot for money, but we're going to help you out with a couple of these value picks along the way. Dalton Schultz also at the top of that list. I haven't mentioned the tight end position, but I think the tight ends are going to play a huge role in this one. What was that?
What was that?
I had some in my throat.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you good? Yeah. You making sure? Okay, cool.
But water.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz is going to play a big factor in this, and I think overall the Cowboys could utilize the tight end. But make sure and go check out DraftKings and make your picks for your daily fantasy. Play for free for over $1 million with your first deposit. A lot of fun with DraftKings. Special thanks to those guys.
Couple more commas there.
It's a lot of that's a couple more commas to say the least whenever it comes to that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some Say It With Your Chest Monday, and we kind of, and by we, I messed it up, and I forgot to do predictions last Thursday, thinking, we'll pick the Cowboys game on Monday, but also not thinking that the rest of the NFL week still plays on Sunday. So yesterday I sent out a text message and I threw 4 games up on the docket for predictions. It was the Titans and the Browns, the Cardinals and the Rams, the Chargers and the Patriots, and then the Colts and Texans. Well, the results are already in. I went 2-2.
I was bamboozled.
Rob went 3-1. Heckma went 3-1, and Mr. Isaiah Stanback, who was leading the way, or at least right up at the top of the standings, went 1-3. What was the game you got right, Isaiah? I don't even know.
I object. I was cleaning out my garage, and my picking was not as sound as it would have been. I was rushing because you guys had sent out the text, and I was late responding. And
hey, that's bullshit.
Whoa! Wow. Okay. I mean, we're not FCC regulated, but that'll work. What was that?
It was muffled. I didn't
hear it either.
Pretty much. Yeah, I had an off week, guys. It happens. You know, I mean, just rely on my team bouncing back.
Well, he went 1-3. So he currently sits at third place in the standings at 27 and 22 overall. He is in third place. Leading the way is Rob Phillips at 29 and 20, and moving freshly into that second place spot. 1 game back of the lead is Mr. Heckma Harrison at 28 and 21.
Say my name, say my name.
So it's Rob, Isaiah, and me. We're all 1 game apart, all the way through. We're all 1 game apart, separated by just 3 games. So we've got 1 game to pick this week, at least on the show. We've only got 1 game to pick. We'll bring it back next week for Say It With Your Chest Friday. But, Isaiah, since you lost 3 of your 4 games, we're going to let you go first on this one, let you pave the way on the Cowboys and the Ravens. Who you got in tomorrow's ball game, and how do you feel like that one's going to fare?
I feel like Ravens are a form of a vulture, and when they sense something that's a little dead, they're going to go out there and peck at it. So I think that they think that the Cowboys are a little dead right now, so they're going to go do a little pecking. So I'm going with Baltimore.
Rob?
Jeez,
what's your score, Isaiah?
34-14.
Whoa. That's with Lamar Jackson?
That's with everybody.
With everybody. Run game, everything. All right. If Lamar Jackson plays, I will take Baltimore because a quarterback who can beat you a bunch of different ways, plus the problems on the offensive line, that's been a recipe for some Cowboys losses this year.
Was that a stipulation?
It is a stipulation. If Trace McSorley plays, I'm taking the Cowboys.
You know,
but I think he's going to play, so I'll take the Ravens like 20-17 27-19.
I will allow it just because I think it is that big of a difference. We're talking about Trace McSorley, the third-string backup out of Penn State University, and then you turn around and you have an MVP caliber Lamar Jackson. I think the stipulation makes sense. But, Heckma, who you got on this one? Actually, you know what?
I don't know, man.
You know what, Heckma? You know what? I'm going to go before you.
What?
I'm going to go.
Yeah, there we go.
Because I think you deserve to go last because you've made such a comeback. I mean, last to second, it's really fantastic. I cannot wait to pass you up in the next couple weeks and have that same kind of celebration on my end. But
Shots fired.
I'm a little upset with the Dallas Cowboys, to say the least. I said I was never going to pick them again. I really did, and I was confident in that. And then I ended up picking them again, and guess what they did to me? They did the same thing that they did originally against Washington. I said it was a different team. This is a different team. It was going to play motivated all the way through. Well, they didn't. So I'm going to pick the Ravens, and I'm pretty confident about it. And that's even if Trace McSorley ends up playing. I don't want to pick the Ravens, but I'm going to, and maybe there's...
No step.
Yep, no, maybe there's
I respect that, Kyle.
Maybe there's something else in the Cowboys, and I'll keep picking against them if it takes them to get a couple wins here. But I'm picking the Ravens. All right, Heckma, your turn.
So you're going against your Cowboys. Let's see what Mr. Heckma says.
So, man, you know what, Isaiah? It is rare air up here, man. It smells like biscuits. But I will say this, guys. We know the Cowboys have been struggling against the run. We haven't been able to get a lot of turnovers. Turnover differential is killing us. And you talk about this Ravens defense that is going to be completely chomping at the bit to get a hold of our offense.
Tostitos.
Tostitos Plaza. I am not there right now. But I'm going to go with the Ravens because I feel like just here in just a few more ticks, Lamar Jackson will be coming off of that COVID list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure by the time this is up on the website and up on YouTube and everything is actually finally posted, it'll come out and they'll say, hey, Lamar Jackson's playing. So I think that's probably going to happen, and the Cowboys are going to be in trouble trying to slow down that offense. And like Ekman said earlier in the show, the boys are getting the band back together, and I think the Cowboys are going to be the victims of that. They're going to have to find a way to play all four quarters with a banged-up offensive line and a secondary that's continuously growing thinner as we speak. But they're about to hit the practice field coming up.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
What was that?
Yeah, maybe no Donovan Wilson in this game. Maybe no Donovan Wilson. Ooh.
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah, Donovan Wilson, questionable at this point. Hopefully he's back out there. The Cowboys are back on the practice field here in about 45 minutes. But we're going to step aside, and that's going to do it for Say It With Your Chest Monday. We'll be back on Wednesday morning to break down everything that happens on Tuesday night between the Cowboys and the Ravens. But for now, I want to say a special thanks to Chris Beam in the back. Special thanks to DraftKings and Geico for sponsoring Dallas Cowboys. For Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you Wednesday on Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.